with the way you're doing your job. You got 75% of the people in the country think it's headed in the wrong direction. 75%. And 54% don't think that you deserve to be reelected. I mean, those are not good numbers with 11 months to go before the election.
Well, look, we've gone through an incredibly difficult time in this country, and I would be surprised if the American people felt satisfied right now. They shouldn't feel satisfied. We've got a lot more work to do in order to get this country and the economy moving in a way that benefits everybody, as opposed to just a few.
On Tuesday, we accompanied the president as he took that message to the middle of the country for what's been called the unofficial launch of his re-election campaign. In Osawatomie, Kansas, where Theodore Roosevelt unveiled the basic tenets of the progressive movement just over 100 years ago, President Obama spoke out against the growing economic inequality he says is destroying the middle class.
This is a make-or-break moment for the middle class and for all those who are fighting to get into the middle class. Because what's at stake is whether this will be a country where working people can earn enough to raise a family, build a modest savings, own a home, secure their retirement.
The president, in laying out the broad themes for his re-election bid, said the system has been rigged against the middle class, and he blamed the Republicans for fighting tougher regulations on the financial industry and opposing higher taxes for the wealthy.
And their philosophy is simple. We are better off when everybody's left to fend for themselves and play by their own rules. I am here to say they are wrong.
Steve.
Mr. President.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
We spoke to the president immediately following the 55-minute speech, which he wrote mostly himself, clearly drawing the battle lines for the next election.
I mean, you were really talking about income inequality, which suggests redistribution of wealth.
I'm going to interrupt you
there. There are going to be
Steve.
people who say this is the socialist Obama and he's come out of the closet.
Look, everybody's concerned about inequality. Those folks in there who were listening to the speech, those are teachers and small business people and probably some small-town bankers who are in there thinking to themselves, how is it that we're working so hard, and meanwhile, they know that corporate profits are at a record level, that a lot of folks are doing very well. What's happened to the bargain? What's happened to the American deal that says, you know, we are focused on building a strong middle class?
This is the class warfare you have been accused of by the Republicans.
Look, the problem is that our politics has gotten to the point where we can't have an honest conversation about the greatest income inequality since the 1920s, and we can't have an honest conversation about the irresponsibility that resulted in the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression without somebody saying that somehow we're being divisive. No, we're being honest about what happened, and we've got to be honest about how we move forward.
Look, we're getting close to the start of the presidential campaign. Does this mean no more governing for the next year until next November? I don't mean just for you, I mean for Congress. Do you have any hope that anything is going to get accomplished between now and the next election?
If I have anything to do about it, absolutely. We're going to keep on pushing to get things done. You know, I want to work with Congress. I want to work with both parties in Congress. I think that we can still make progress on a balanced approach to deficit reduction. What I'm not going to do is wait for Congress. So wherever we have an opportunity, and I have the executive authority to go ahead and get some things done, we're just going to go ahead and do them.
After returning to Washington, he was even more combative when he was asked about Republican charges that his foreign policy in the Middle East is one of appeasement.
Ask Osama bin Laden and the 22 out of 30 top al-Qaeda leaders who've been taken off the field whether I engage in appeasement. Or whoever's left out there. Ask them about that.
We talked to him about this new approach Friday morning at the White House. Since the midterm elections, you've made an effort at bipartisanship. It hasn't worked out that well.
And it seems to me, it appears, watching you the last month or so, that you're stopped reaching out to Republicans, that you're going on the offensive.
Well, look.
And taking your message to the voters.
I think that when I came into office in 2008, it was my firm belief that at such an important moment in our history, there was no reason why Democrats and Republicans couldn't put some of the old ideological baggage aside and focus on common sense, what works, practical solutions to the tough problems we were facing. And I think the Republicans made a different calculation, which was, you know what, we really screwed up the economy. Obama seems popular. Our best bet is to stand on the sidelines because we think the economy is going to get worse, and at some point just blame him. And so we haven't gotten the kind of engagement from them that I would have liked.
Isn't it your job as president to find solutions to these problems, to get results, to figure out a way to get it done?
It is my job to put forward a vision of the country that benefits the vast majority of Americans. It is my job to make sure that my party is behind those initiatives, even if sometimes it's breaking some china and going against some of the dogmas of our party in the past. And we've done that on things like education reform. And it's my job to rally the American people around that vision.
You say that you've rallied the country, but these poll numbers show otherwise.
Steve, here's the thing. As long as unemployment rate is too high and people are feeling under the gun day in, day out because their bills are going up and their wages and incomes aren't, or they're out of a job, they're going to feel unsatisfied. I mean, there's no secret to this. If I can't get Republicans to move, partly because they've made a political strategic decision that says anything Obama's for, we're against, because that's our best chance of winning an election. But keep in mind, I'm talking about Republican members of Congress. I'm not talking about Republicans around the country.
They don't like you much better. It's only 7% approval rating.
Yeah, no, I understand. But I think that they like the ideas that we put forward. I mean, the interesting thing is the majority of Republicans actually think we should have a balanced approach to deficit reduction, including tax increases for the wealthy. The majority of Republicans do think that we should make investments in roads and bridges and improving our airports and investing in basic research and medical research. So if you take my name out of it and just look at the ideas that we've been presenting, these are common sense mainstream ideas that Republican presidents in the past have supported.
With the